And today we have Chief Burke from the fire department, who is the coordinator for the hazard mitigation planning team in the town of Sandwich. And he's going to update you on the efforts of the hazard mitigation plan, and because they have to renew it and review it every 5 years to update it. And he's here to talk about that today with us. And so the chief, what is the hazard mitigation plan, and why is it required?
Well, good to have you back, Dave.
Thank you.
I hope you're enjoying retirement.
I enjoy being here. So,
So the hazard mitigation plan is a FEMA required plan the town has to put forward every 5 years. I've been part of 2 of the planning teams going back to 2011. So it was 2011, 2016. Then COVID hit. We got a little bit of a reprieve. But now we're able to get the plan fully updated. So it basically lists, we look at the hazards for the town, we track some mitigation strategies, things that have been done in the past, things that we're looking to do in the future, and it just gives a lens into our overall preparedness for any type of hazard that would occur in the town and that we're prepared for it.
okay, so that planning team, I mentioned planning team, and you did, or a working group. Who is on that group?
So it's usually the department head, so police, fire, emergency management, building, health, conservation plays a very key role in natural resources, and then the Ralph Fataco from planning. Actually is kind of the lead agency for hazard mitigation planning. It sounds like it should be in emergency management, but it's really a planning function, and we help support. So he initially is the driver to get the group together, and then we started allocating assignments once we got things going about 1.5 years ago. We started.
Okay. So in terms of the hazard mitigation plan, what's been in place? I mean, so it's a consistent group that's working on this each time it's updated?
It is. It's usually by department, so the faces may change, but the departments that are involved are usually the same. Like I said, the natural resources has taken a larger role in the last 5 to 10 years based on a bunch of factors that we can go into, but overall, the planning group is pretty much the same, with the town manager and assistant town manager kind of in the periphery overseeing and being briefed. But overall, it's the same group of people.
Okay, so in the plan, in the hazard mitigation plan, what are the components of it? What makes up the plan?
So it starts with a background. So you get a general background, layout of the town population. I have a bunch of stuff here that I can quickly talk about. We look at the planning process, and then we identify the natural hazards in town. So what are the most likely things to happen? We look at that and start rating that. So coastal flooding, storms, nor'easters, etc. Pretty consistent, so that's kind of higher up. The irony is we're kind of going through stuff this week, the earthquake that happened in New Jersey.
Yeah.
It is a low hazard risk for us, but we still have it in there with tsunamis. We do an asset inventory, so we look at, and there's been big changes since 2016, right? New police fire building on Katuah Road, the Center for Active Living, the new Harbor Master's office. So we update all of our assets. We work with the water district also, who's on the periphery of the plan, to make sure the wells and the water supply there's been no changes to that. So we go through the asset inventory. We do an updated vulnerability assessment. We see if things have changed. Then we look at mitigation strategies. We work with the county and with the State Emergency Management Agency. There are grants that can be available, and Natural Resources has done a great job the last 5 to 10 years with the MVP grant process. Some of the culvert work they have done, the beach nourishment stuff that they have done. So the mitigation stuff, we've been able to keep moving forward. A lot of times you get stuck and you can't get over that initial hurdle, but we've done very well with mitigation strategy. And then we come up with the evaluation maintenance process. How many times are we going to look at it? Is it going to be every year, et cetera? And then we actually start the planning for 2029 at the end to kind of gauge who's going to be around, who isn't, how things potentially will change.
And changes in the environment, too.
Right. 5 years, it could be very significant. And then we added an appendix. And a quick thing I want to mention is there's a figures page, which is a little more detailed than last time. Some of the things there are shoreline change mapping from 1800 to 2009, so you can see There's an online viewer for the Coastal Resiliency Program, FEMA flood maps. There's a slosh map, which is flooding, where you can plug your address in, wind zone maps, and then how lightning travels, sea level rise map, wildfire risk, which is actually elevated from our 2016 evaluation to now. We've actually gone up a category in that. And the other newer one is the map of repetitive lost properties, which insurance companies obviously like to see. But where are the areas that are constantly getting re-hit based on that? So those are just some of the things that we have in there.
Okay, so when you talk about the properties and the effect on the town, do stakeholder groups or the public get involved? Are they able to comment or take a look at the plan?
Yep, so the good part is, hence today, one of the things we're doing for outreach is this. We will post on the town website and social media the draft plan, and then we encourage public comment. So we take those public comments, they actually get folded into the final draft. So we expect that to come out most likely next week with about a 3-week review period. We've identified some stakeholder groups already. The Commission on Accessibility will take a look. Sandwich for All will have a copy. The Sandwich Council on Aging, the Friends of Sandwich Seniors. Those are just some of the groups that we're going to submit. Those are actual stakeholder groups, but the public will have the ability to comment and review the plan, and I think that's important that we roll those comments into the plan and show that we are communicating with the public and we're getting their input.
So with that, once the plan's developed, does the plan need a sign off? Do the selectmen have to approve the plan?
Yep, so through the FEMA process, so what happens is we have the public comment period, which we're starting to open shortly. Once we get that back, we kind of massage, put the comments in there, make sure everything is buttoned up, and then we forward it to the selectmen. They will get it in their packet for a 1-week review, and then they vote on us submitting to FEMA. So they're the final gatekeeper. Once everybody's satisfied with the plan, we push it forward to FEMA. FEMA then catalogs, reviews the plan, and then approves it, and then we are good to go moving forward. The State Emergency Management Agency is actually gives us the grant funding, so we work with them and FEMA in this whole process. And the Cape Cod Commission, one of the representatives was basically our consultant to put the plan together. And Martha Hebenauer has done a great job down there working with us over the last year and a half. And so with all those public-private entities in play, we're almost at the finish line.
Okay, great. And then as far as taking a look back and what you're seeing now, what changes have you seen in the plan? You know, the town changes continually, demographics, population, environment. What changes have you seen over the last 2 revisions?
So it's interesting. The population has gone down slightly. It's an interesting fluctuation when you look at, and it depends on where you're getting your numbers from. Obviously, is it U.S. Census or is it from the town clerk in terms of voting? How many homes are in town? We compare all of that. So the population numbers have gone down slightly since the last time. I think the flooding issues that we've seen, which are well documented, continue. And I think we're seeing the usual repetitive areas, but now we're seeing some additional areas. And people will say that. They'll say, I've never flooded before, but now we're starting to see that. And I think one of the things we took a hard look at in this plan is the obvious, which is coastal flooding, but stormwater flooding in our inland, quote unquote, inland areas, right? Mm-hmm. And working with Paul Tilton, who is on the committee, to say we need to take a harder look at stormwater management, right? So the coastal flooding is one thing, but stormwater flooding has impacted a lot of neighborhoods,
right?
And tying that into the monies that DPW receives to be able to do road improvements. So now we're working in concert with identifying those particular areas.
Is that associated with changes in rainfall also? I mean, what we've seen, the how heavy storms are.
And I think it's the amount of the intensity of the rain and short duration. Right, so you can have a long duration 36-hour rainstorm with moderate rain. You may not see the stormwater flooding. If you get 2 inches of rain in an hour, the system can't handle that. And what we're seeing is these intense, at least in the last 2 years, these intense rain bands that come in and drop 2-3 inches of rain in 2 or 3 hours. That's where we're seeing the system not being able to keep up with that. So we did take a hard look at stormwater flooding in this particular plan where we have not in the past. And I think that's one of the bigger changes we've seen.
Just an observation over my time here is the increase in the number of sump pumps people have associated with those issues.
Yep.
And then people complaining about neighbors' sump pumps. And it's it was just something that was a stark difference to me since we, in my time frame here.
Yes. Yep.
But anyways, and as far as, there's always accessing your vulnerable residents. How does the plan address that?
Yeah, so that was interesting. We spent a lot of time on that in terms of that, like what the outreach plan would look like. So there was a digital equity series that was at the Center for Active Living that the commission hosted, and it was well attended. And that started to look at the equity and access to internet and certain communication tools in town. Then we hosted 2 what we call Lunch and Learn series at the Center of Active Living, spearheaded by Dave DeConto and Natural Resources. We brought in Chris Gloninger, who was a former Emmy Award-winning meteorologist, NBC 10 in Boston, KCCI in Iowa. He is now at the Woods Hole Group. He's the climate scientist and outreach coordinator. So he actually came and did a presentation, and then we served lunch. It was very interesting to get his perspective. And then the second one, Dave DeConto brought in some folks from the county where what can you do for impacting climate change just yourself? Different types of grass seed that could be planted and other strategies for the individual homeowner. We thought that was an excellent outreach possibility.
How to adapt.
And I think in presentations like this, which we want to continue, this is a good medium that people pay attention to. They can rewatch it. They can watch it 2 days from now, and making sure that we are hitting all of the populations with the information.
Great.
And that was a big strategy of ours.
Okay. And then, so I guess we'll wrap it up if there's anything else. But one more time, as far as we had talked about the public and getting a review and comment.
Yep.
You want to just reiterate?
Yeah,
that?
so we'll be, again, posting that out. It'll be on the town website. It'll be on the social media pages. We're going to put it in the enterprise. There'll be links available. And again, worst case scenario, if you read it and you're not sure how to comment, you can certainly email myself, jburke@sandwichmass.org. That's jburke@sandwichmass.org. And I can take those comments and implement them. But I think it's important people at least take a look at it, because these are the same documents your insurance company looks at. And as we know, so I think you want to make sure and see what's in there. And the final thing I'll add is the amount of mitigation work that's been done by the town, which may have flown under the radar with people. When you do culvert repairs and small things like that, it doesn't seem like much, but when you read this plan and you see what Natural Resources has done to try to shore up these particular areas, it was eye-opening for me.
It ties it all together.
Right? And
it's not just about let's do a bigger culvert. It's for a reason.
The reason, and who's advising on that, and how does it impact the roads, and what other department heads need to be involved. And I think this process naturally brings the groups together. We already work well together, but it's very interesting. And I'm just going to go back to the stormwater thing. When you have DPW and Natural Resources working in concert to try to come up with solutions and mitigation strategies, it's not 2 silos saying that's Dave's problem or that's Paul's problem.
Right.
It's bringing them together, and then us from public safety saying, yeah, we want to see it fixed too. We want to be able to get our apparatus through there. We want to be able to access, et cetera. So that part's been really good. And again, I encourage the public to comment, to review it. And again, if you can't provide comment, you're not sure how to, even a phone call is fine. And then again, we'll be presenting to the selectmen at some point next month for that final approval to send it on to FEMA.
Super, very good. Well, thank you, Chief Burke. And then, for the community, as always, Chief Burke is out there thinking ahead years down the road in order to provide and plan. And again, if you have comments, you can reach out the way Chief Burke had suggested.
Thank you, Dave, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.